Hello, welcome to Rough Cut Film Review. This is a review of the 2012 film Excision, which was recommended to me by a friend. It's a body horror film with very dark comedic elements in there, and when I say dark, it's the kind of thing where a male teen goes down on a girl who's menstruating and we get a bit of a laugh. I wasn't laughing, but there's a laugh there. It's brought to us by Richard Bates Jr., who's previously had absolutely no experience making films, as far as IMDb tells me. And it is a very strange tale for a man to actually bring to the screen. I don't know if I'm inventing a word here, but it's very gynecentric, if you know what I mean. So basically here we have a disturbed female teen who clearly has social issues and also some mental ones in there for good measure. She's got a younger sister who is socially normal and sweet and nice, but we become aware that she is basically slowly dying. She's got a very serious illness. They both got a very henpecked father who's actually seems like a nice person, but he is incredibly henpecked. And they all have the mother figure is very overbearing, and she has a very hard time understanding the oldest daughter's difficulties and troubles and all that stuff. So the said daughter has disturbed dreams of sex and death, and that she decides that despite the fact she doesn't really have any friends or a boyfriend, she decides that she wants to lose her virginity. She decides the chap who she wants to lose her virginity to, he's one of the cool kids, but actually he's got a girlfriend already, although she's not very nice as far as we can tell. The girl, aside from wanting to have sex with this guy, she also has her heart set on a future as a surgeon. So off we go with pretty much just that into a sort of David Cronenberg body horror, David Lynchy dream sequency film. There's I think there's also some, we need to talk about Kevin Lynn Ramsey stuff in there as well, which is really good. And all of this is, strangely enough, sort of married to a female Napoleon Dynamite, I think is a fair way to describe her. The actress herself is attractive, but she's got this sort of almost like a fake brow almost. It's almost like a unibrow. It makes her look sort of like a cave woman. But there's this sort of broiling sexual tension within her. It's a very peculiar mix of influences, as I've suggested. So the idea of putting David Cronenberg body horror with a Napoleon Dynamite style high school character, it's a strange mix. We also get some funny scenes in there, for example, with the protagonist, the girl, praying to God and talking to God and just talking things through in her own mind of where her thoughts are. Just gives us an opportunity to see what she's thinking, because the other characters find it very difficult to understand where she's coming from and what her thoughts actually are, including her parents. It's quite wittily scripted. She spends some time, her parents can't actually afford her to have a therapist, so she spends quite a lot of time going and meeting their priest. And during that time she spends the time deconstructing and belittling the priest and everything he stands for. All that stuff's fairly amusing. I don't actually have a problem with that. I know that, for example, with Tarantino scripts, some people find them absolutely maddening because real people don't talk like that. It was always the problem I had. I know it was never actually designed for me, but all those years ago, do you remember the programme Dawson's Creek? And I used to really get irritated by the script, because you'd have Pacey, and Pacey was supposed to be the sort of dullard character, and he'd be going on and on and on, and about the meaning of life or something, and saying, "Oh, I just don't know how to articulate my feelings." I thought, I wasn't like that as a teenager. I could barely say 3 words in once, and I certainly couldn't make eye contact with people. God, so I could understand that stuff sort of getting slightly irritating. It does get quite nasty as the film goes on. I mean, there's a very unsettling dream sequence at the beginning, which really sort of sets the tone, and you never really settle down. And I think some part of that is to do with the fact that these different sort of disparate elements are all in there fighting for attention. Without giving too much away, bad stuff happens. There's lots of overtones of Carrie as well.
That's very overt. So it's a real mixed bag. Overall, I mean, it's I didn't love the film. I enjoyed it certainly. I think it's a decent film, but it's not as ambitious as it might have been, and I think there is a sort of a credibility gap in terms of relatability with the characters. But having said that, I did enjoy it, and all the sort of David Lynchian, David Cronenbergian weirdness was much appreciated. And actually, the only other thing I'd probably say is I don't think, as a first-time director, as far as I can tell, I don't think the direction, the style of direction really settled down, and I think some of the shots were too showed too much almost. So I think some of them should have been a bit more subtle. There should have been a bit more subtlety, a bit more nuance to it, and just give our imaginations a chance to fill in the gaps, rather than just go, here you go, here's a thing with some lighting on it, it's disgusting, here's some more lighting, here it is, you can see it clearly, and just a bit more subtlety. But anyway, other than that, he did a fine job. So there we go, that's my review of Excision, and it's a tentative recommendation. Kind regards, Christopher Thomas.